All right, so it's set for June 1st at Madison Square Garden. You got Anthony Joshua versus uh, Big Baby Miller, Fat Baby Miller, as I like to call him. Um, and I think overall this is a good title defense. This is a good move on Anthony Joshua's part. Like most boxing fans or like most heavyweight boxing fans, I'd rather Anthony Joshua fight Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury. But that's not the case. We know that when it comes to Anthony Joshua, these fighters want a nice payday. Whether they deserve it or not, that's not what the video is about. So they couldn't get those fights made. I believe that Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury will be fighting in a rematch, and that's probably the best thing for them right now. So if you're Anthony Joshua, you got to move on. You got to keep making fights. You are the world champion. You are a unified world champion, and I think that he's going on the right route, fighting Miller at the Garden, at his backyard in America, and completing his role as a world champion. So to me, it's a good move. When it comes to the fight itself, I don't really give Miller that much of a chance, and I might be wrong about that. But the way I look at it right now, not much of a chance. As you can see from this picture, there's a good height difference, and then on top of that, you got Anthony Joshua, who looks like the better athlete, and I believe also he is the better boxer, overall boxer. Where I give Miller a shot is that Anthony Joshua's stamina at times have been an issue, or it looks like an issue. So if Miller is able to absorb many punches coming from Anthony Joshua's way and is able to hold them or eat those punches without being really affected to the point where he can't throw punches anymore or he's about to get stopped, stamina could play an issue for Joshua in this fight against a guy like Miller, who's been coming in over 300 pounds in his last 4 or 5 fights, right? Something like that. So it might be a problem. That could be a problem, I'm saying, if those scenarios were to play out. We've also seen Anthony Joshua hurt by guys that probably don't punch as hard because they're not as big as Gerald Miller. Guys like Joseph Parker, who buzzed him at least twice in that fight. Buzzed Anthony Joshua. But when it comes to boxing and it comes to athletic ability, I think that obviously goes to Anthony Joshua, and that's why I will favor him in experience as well. Now, Miller has been on a nice winning streak. Now, look, he's fighting the greatest fighters in the world. I don't think the heavyweight division is that deep when it comes to the best fighters in the world for him to have an impressive resume like that. Now, do I think he could have fought guys that are better, like a Kubrat Pulev? Yeah, I believe so. But that didn't happen, and he's got this fight. But the opponents that he's had in front of him are pretty decent, and considering the heavyweight division the way it is today, it's a decent resume, and it's just as good, if not better, than Luis Ortiz. A name that Deontay Wilder's fan base would like Anthony Joshua to face, right? I think Gerald Miller is on the same level as Luis Ortiz. At the very least, they're at the same level. But Gerald Miller has been winning by knockouts, and I don't think his competition is the greatest, but they're a decent run for a guy like Gerald Miller, and this is the position that he's in, and the way Anthony Joshua is handling this. He is going to the Garden. He is going to the backyard of Miller. He's taken his obligation as a world champion serious at this point, right? He's coming to America. He's not only fighting the UK, and maybe that's a message of things to come, given that Deontay Wilder especially doesn't look like he's too eager to fight in the UK. At least not yet. So as a world champion, as a unified world champion, I have to check off a lot of boxes when it comes to Anthony Joshua. When it comes to this fight. Fighting a top 10, a ranked top 10 fighter in your weight class, heavyweight division. Fighting him in his backyard, completing his role as a world unified champion. There's not really much to complain, except maybe I would have liked to see him fight either Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. Get those fights out of the way before they drag out. And we got a Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather situation. I would rather them get it over with. But Miller is an undefeated fighter. Never fought, obviously, he never fought Wilder, never fought Tyson Fury. So we just assume that Fury and Deontay Wilder are better opponents than Gerald Miller. And we might be 100% right. Doesn't change the fact that Anthony Joshua, as a world champion, is completing his role as that. Fighting Miller in his backyard is a very good idea, considering who Miller is. Maybe we look at him as a limited opponent, giving him a chance in his own backyard. If you look at Anthony Joshua as just too superior than Big Baby Miller, and that might be the case. That's probably, and that's what I'll be betting on, is that Anthony Joshua is a more superior fighter than Big Baby Miller come June 1st. But fighting him in the Garden, fighting him in his backyard, I think is a great idea as a world unified champion.